young, I loved art. In fact, I still love art. And when I was young, I used to joke that I was born in an art museum. Of course it's silly, but still, it's nice to dream. But when I was around 8 or 9, I had two favorite things: art and sculpture. And flowers. Counting flowers. I guess art and sculpture are one. But among art and sculpture, I had an special fondness for making flowers. And so I would be constantly making flowers. Daisies, lilies, tulips, you name it, I made it. But I just couldn't find an easy and pretty one to sculpt. But then one day I thought of the rose. I mean, I've previously thought it way too hard to do, but it couldn't be any harder than the daffodil, can it? So I went online and looked up how to make a rose, and lo and behold, it was easier than pie. From then on, the rose was always my favorite. It always seemed so delicate and full of meaning, and I ended up with a huge collection of clay roses that was surprisingly charming. And so today I'll be showing you how to make a simple rose out of modeling clay. This design is not my own, to be clear. I got it from Smart Class. So the materials you will need are red clay, or whatever else clay you want to make your flower out of, green clay for a stem, and a flat surface and a paper to keep everything relatively clean. And now we can start making our rose. Pinch off a chunk of clay about the size of your thumbnail and roll it into a ball like this and squash it flat. Continue flattening it until it's around 2 millimeters thick, like so. That will be your first petal. Continue making petals until you have anything from 5 to 20 of them. The more petals there are on a rose, the better it looks. And while I'm making my own petals, I will be telling you all a story. Once there was a man who wanted to give his mother some roses for a gift. He drove to a nearby flower shop to send a wire order, and as he got out of his car, he saw a little girl sobbing on the sidewalk. He asked her, "Why are you crying?" She looked up and said, "I want to buy my mother a red rose, but a rose costs $2 and only have 75 cents. The man smiled kindly. "Come on in," he said. "I'll get you a rose." After he had bought her his rose and ordered her his own roses, he asked the girl, "Do you want to ride home?" "Yes, please," she smiled happily. "You can take me to my mother." She directed the man to a cemetery, where she placed the rose on a freshly dug grave. Immediately, the man left and canceled the wire order of roses. Instead, he grabbed a bouquet and drove 200 miles. 200 miles to deliver the roses himself. It is because this man realized the time he had with his mother was limited and precious, and he decided to stop wasting the time that he did have and spend it with her. Now, we may not do something as drastic as this man did, but while our loved ones are still with us, we really need to show our affection and appreciation while we have the chance. They're only with us for a little while. Some people may receive floods of flowers, but it's that one rose, the love behind it, that's truly special and shows the emotion. Now, a handmade rose may not be nearly so beautiful, but it will show the affection a lot more and create a real physical memory instead of just being an easy gift to give. And also, love and affection can truly shine out through the petals. And now that we're back on the subject of petals, I have finished all of mine. And you can find your smallest petal, which would be this one, and curl it into a roll, like so, with the smaller end tighter and the top wider. The tighter end will be the bottom of the rose, and continue adding petals, going from your smallest petal to your biggest one. You don't need to worry about pressing the petal down, securing it, because it will secure itself once you put the other ones on. And so you continue adding petals like this, in a very uneven pattern, because roses aren't perfect. And make sure to keep the tops of petals in about an even line, expanding outwards, like so. And continue adding petals, like so. And it may seem a little uninteresting at this point, so to add a little flair, curl each of the petals outward, like this. Make sure not to rip anything, because then it'll be disastrous. So curl the petals outward, like this, and you may need to pull the outside petals away from the center a little bit to give the inner petals more room. Okay, like that. And there you go. That's your rose. Now for a stem, I usually have a skewer like this with a sharp part sticking out and the green clay wrapped around the rest of it. And then I stick the sharp part of the skewer carefully in the bottom of the rose, like that. And don't let the tip of the skewer poke out of this part. You don't want to see it. And then you can sling the bottom of the rose down to fit the skewer, like so. And there you go. That's your rose. Now, if you have a smaller rose like this, it's really tiny. Or maybe you'll see it better this way. If you have a smaller rose like this, and you can take a little bit of green clay like this and secure it carefully to the bottom of the stem, and then curl it around to make a closed circle like this. And then it could be a keychain to go on your keys or on your backpack strap, as I do. But as a warning, you can only do this keychain with air drying or baking clay, because otherwise it's going to be too weak to hold. And now you can clean up your area and make sure there are no clay crumbs left, because clay crumbs make an absolute mess and it's horrifying. And now that I've finished these roses, I'll be going a bit into the meanings of the roses. So each color of rose has its own meaning. For example, the red, lover's rose, signifies enduring passion. Pink signifies gratitude, appreciation, and admiration. Yellow means friendship and joy. White shows humility and innocence. Orange means enthusiasm and desire. And purple signifies enchantment and love at first sight. You can pick the color of clay you use to match the feelings you want to convey. A little while ago I made some pink and yellow roses for a friend, and she was absolutely thrilled. Roses are one of the biggest symbols of affection, love, and faith, and so they make very meaningful gifts for family and friends too. And now that I've finished all of my roses, I will take them and give them to my wonderful parents, who always help me with anything that's too hard for me to do alone.